Having parts of our valley tonight, lightning, heavy rain and strong winds creating problems for a lot of people right now. More than 26,000 customers are without power. That's according to NV Energy. All the red dots you see on this map is where the outages are. NV Energy isn't sure when the power will return, but they're working as quickly as they can. And one thing you've probably noticed is the lightning tonight. Mother Nature has been putting on quite a show. Our live drive unit capturing this video earlier, and more video of the lightning. This was near Pebble and Las Vegas Boulevard. Thanks to our viewer, Marcy Wilkening. Now we have crews all over the valley tonight covering these storms. Brian Callahan is on Boulder Highway where some power lines are down. But let's begin with Chief Meteorologist Brian Schofield. And those winds were completely crazy tonight, Brian.
Wow, you're right. And they got here before anything else did, reducing visibilities. At one point, I don't think you could see almost your hand in front of your face in Nellis Air Force Base with all the dust and sand. We still have plenty of dry creek beds out there that are just stirring everything up. But look at that 63-mile-per-hour gust. That's about the time a severe thunderstorm warning was issued, because when you get those 60-plus mile-per-hour winds, you know you're in severe thunderstorm territory. And then everything started to follow suit, really across the valley and even beyond. Here's what we're looking at. We'll go right to it. You can see it's finally lifting out of the valley. These thunderstorms formed in the Moapa Valley coming out of Lincoln County, and then they just backed up, and they can do that. And big wind ushered out of them and created more storms across the valley. So it was that little patch of wind you can see just kind of going through the area there. Just phenomenal to see the lightning strikes coming out of that. Closer in, areas that aren't seeing any now still have flooding on the ground, so there's still flood warnings right around Wetlands Park, Sunrise Manor. There you go, right there. Just kind of throw the colorized version in there. That's all the way up through Moapa Valley. Flash flood warning in place till early in the morning. That's beyond 1 o'clock in the morning, so it's going to be there for a little longer because so many areas have already filled up with very heavy rain. And that very heavy rain, along with those lightning strikes, are slowly lifting out. It wasn't about the hail like we saw earlier across the valley. It was all about the lightning. It was all about the heavy rain, and some of that's still on the ground. But most of those big thunderstorms out of the valley in general. But look how impressive they were earlier, and now finally slowly moving out. Let me show you some rainfall totals before we move on. I've got to show you these because these are from this evening, and this is from about 15 minutes time. No wonder there's some flooding. Okay, you don't need to have rain still falling to have flooding. There's plenty of areas that have already seen certainly the basins fill up, and like I said, those dry creek beds filling up quite well. Wetlands Park, that was in another 15 minutes time. So other areas not as impressive, but that doesn't matter. We saw some big thunderstorms in the east, and now they're moving north. Coming up, I'm going to show you which areas will get hit next in your 13 First Alert forecast, and that is just ahead.
Brian, thank you. Also breaking now, drivers are being allowed to go home after a very dangerous situation. Minutes ago, we learned crews have rescued everyone who was trapped in their vehicles after power lines fell on top of them. Brian Callahan is live at the scene of Boulder Highway, where a chunk of roadway is still closed right now. Brian.
Yeah, there's a large section down here. We didn't make it all the way to Boulder Highway. You can see all those lights out there. That's where all the power poles went down. Those cars were trapped. Couldn't get an exact count, but when they were letting those people out, I counted at least 24 cars that came through here. Henderson Fire tells me at least one of those, the person had to be extricated, no injuries, everyone got out safe. Henderson Fire also says if you take a look off the side, you can see all the power out. At one point, they were told there were 18,000 customers in Henderson alone without power. Obviously, losing 8 or 9 power poles in this area contributes to that. And then take a look here when it comes to those closures. This is Galleria and Gibson. They have this completely closed off right here. They don't want anybody getting down towards that area of Boulder Highway. Boulder Highway right now is shut down between Russell and Sunset. So this is an area that Henderson Fire, Henderson Police, everybody would ask them drivers to avoid if they can. It'll likely be closed for several hours because power poles will take a lot to repair. But these winds were all over the valley on our drive down here. Like Brian was saying, there was very little visibility, so there's lots of wind damage all over the valley. Masa Saidi is up near Valley View in 95, where I understand she found some more damage.
Yeah, Brian, that's right. We've been all over the valley tonight. We just got to this location about 60 seconds ago. You can see that NV Energy is being kept very busy tonight. On Facebook, a lot of you were telling us about the damage, and that is where we heard a big gust of wind actually behind this house. It tore a power pole in half. People on the street do not have any power right now, so NV Energy is working to basically fix this situation. It's a very dangerous situation because there's live wires on the ground, so they're asking us to stand stand back, and they're having neighbors here stand back as well. So a very busy night for them. As Tricia said, 26,000 customers without power right now. We're going to stand by and speak with the homeowner and some neighbors, but again, the power line is snapped in half. There's live wires on the ground and people dealing with no power in this community. Let's take it back to you guys.
And folks in the northwest part of the valley say their neighborhood is looking more like a river after tonight's storms. But here's the thing. They actually say it happens every year during monsoon storms. 13 Action News anchor Carla Wade talked with one man who says he has finally had enough.
This is Shady Pines Drive near El Capitan in Durango. But Daniel Rosenbaum says this time of the year he's taken to calling it the Shady Pines Wash.
This is quite dangerous for the community.
The water coming up to the wheel wells of some vehicles, forcing them to come to a crawl at intersections or even turn around. Rosenbaum says it's so bad, sometimes he can't leave for work.
So I just wait. If I have to leave in the morning, I'll just wait until I can get out. And my wife, on the other hand, she braves it.
And the problem doesn't end once the water subsides because of the thick mud that oozes along with the water.
For a couple of days afterwards, the street will be a complete disaster until they come and clean it.
And that was Carla Wade reporting. Rosenbaum says that he would really like the city to do something to improve the drainage in this area. He says he and other neighbors have purchased flood insurance just in case one day the water threatens their homes. And we want to remind you